identifying, the right amount of weight, the right positioning. That's the magic.
Alright, so we're going to design new weight systems for cervical spine curvature with the founder and owner of Halo Posture Systems, Scott, and his son. So, come on along. Here we are with Scott, and Scott is the owner and founder of Halo Products, Inc. And Scott and I got connected really through Dr. Dennis Wogan, who is also a chiropractor. And Dr. Wogan was first introducing to me Scott's products in the Cayman Islands at a seminar of innovators that used digital motion x-ray in order to find hidden injuries. And really that was where it had started and stopped, was we used digital motion x-ray to find hidden injuries. And Dr. Wogan introduced us to a whole new world connected through Scott and how you could use digital motion x-ray to improve spinal curvature. So I'm really interested, Scott, at where the deep origins of using weights in order to change posture or to bring health began. And you told me a story. Can you just kind of share with us?
Well, the story comes originally from Tom, who is studied deep into Eastern medicine and martial arts. And when the concept of weighting was introduced to me, it was outside of the realm of chiropractic. And Tom, who studied from a Shaolin monk who had escaped the Chinese Revolution back in, I believe it was in the 20s or 30s, he escaped and came to the United States, and Tom became an understudy with this Shaolin monk. And Tom learned, of course, a variety of things from this gentleman, and one of them was the idea or concept of wearing weight on the head. Originally Chinese used, they had what they call a queue, was with their hair, which was braided, and they would use that braid and wrap it around the top of their head and hang weights from it.
Wow.
And from there, and then we're going back, if not hundreds and hundreds of years, maybe 1,000 years in terms of this ideology. And then it was introduced to the monasteries in China and the monks. That's where the Shaolin monks come into play. And they took it and built on this concept of weighting for balance, because everything you do in martial arts is centered on balance.
So the origins, as far as you and Tom know, go back to martial arts and working on refining or improving balance.
Correct.
To really control your movements and motions.
Exactly.
That's
so
excellent.
It had it didn't have anything to do with correcting lordosis in terms of the Eastern approach of using weights. But it is everything to do with strengthening.
Yes.
And balance.
The balance component that the Shaolin monks had been using the hair braids and tying and putting weights on, is not so far off from the usage that we do now in the chiropractic world. And I always have been somebody that likes to bring honor and respect to the origins of something. And that's a big part of us using this talk today, is that going back to using weights to bring balance. So many of our patients, Scott, that when we first get them fit for the exact weight setup that they need, they immediately feel more centered, more balanced, easier on their feet, lighter. All of these same things that the Shaolin monks were probably hoping to achieve or were achieving when they were doing their weighting system.
I agree.
So,
and there's an overlap with utilizing these weight systems, whether it be something simple like the Rejuvenator with symmetrical weight, as opposed to the anterior weights, we're correcting the forward head posture. The amazing feature of these simple tools is that they do multiple things at one time.
I agree. I would imagine that the Shaolin monks back hundreds of years ago were doing some of the subtle fine tunings of how they did the weight system
Mhm.
based on that individual's weaknesses or vulnerabilities. And, just like a master in any kind of an art would do with martial arts, that they would be looking, okay, so your tendency is that when you do this strike or this motion, that you kind of collapse here. So we need the weight right there. And that's exactly what we're doing today in confirming with diagnostic ultrasound. We're almost cheating. The monks had to do it without diagnostic ultrasound, without x-ray, just using their intuition
Your
and
sense of visualization.
yes. And so we still do that, and we rely heavily on our intuition, the visualization, your tendency to collapse, but we can now confirm it. And also, even sometimes what we thought was right, we find isn't. When we do a digital motion x-ray, we have the weight on somebody and they're feeling a little better with it, but once we have that additional information, it can change
You
it a
can
little.
maximize the performance of the weights.
Yeah.
It is fascinating, and it's such a simple. These are simple tools used in a fairly simple way, but the complexities in diagnosis and identifying, the right amount of weight, the right positioning, that's the magic.
That's
And
the
that's
art.
what you guys bring to these simple products.
Yeah.
And so it's been amazing to watch the evolution in the short period of time that I've been involved, knowing that people like Dr. Wogan have been doing this for 40 years.
It's incredible.
And I think it even goes back further, Pettibon and
Yeah.
beyond.